I never thought my little voice could bring down a billionaire. But when I found out what he was hiding, something that could destroy him, my whole world changed. He tried to cover it up with money, love, and lies. But I didn't stay silent, and this is my story. I never thought I'd be the one to bring down a billionaire. Me, a regular black woman, raised in a small town where hard work was everything, and secrets were meant to stay buried. But life has a way of pulling you into things you'd never expect. When I met him, he seemed like everything a girl like me could dream of. Rich, powerful, and charming beyond belief. But behind those polished smiles and perfect suits, he was hiding something so big it could ruin him forever. Hit that like button if you've ever felt like the truth could set you free. Subscribe, because this story will blow your mind. Before all this happened, I was just living my life. Nothing fancy, just me trying to make a way in the world. I grew up in a close-knit community where everyone knew everyone else's business. I worked regular jobs, saved up little by little, and dreamed quietly about something bigger. I wasn't looking for anything more than stability, maybe a little adventure. Then, out of nowhere, I met him. It wasn't like in the movies, where you bump into someone on the street and instantly fall. No, this was at a charity event, something I attended because I wanted to give back, nothing more. He was there too, dressed like he owned the room, with that confident, almost effortless way of moving through the crowd. People noticed him, but when he looked at me, it felt like the noise around us disappeared. He smiled in a way that made me feel seen, really seen, not just like some face in the crowd. We started talking, and I won't lie, I was caught off guard. He was smart, funny, and kind, in a way I didn't expect from someone so rich and famous. I remember thinking, could someone like this really be interested in me? I mean, I wasn't from his world. My life was simple, full of everyday struggles, and here he was, offering me something that felt like a dream. At first, everything was easy, exciting. The late-night dinners, the surprise trips, the way he made me laugh like no one else. I felt special, like I finally belonged somewhere. But there were tiny things I brushed off, calls he didn't want me to hear, secret meetings, and a side of him that vanished when the doors closed. I told myself it was just part of his world, something I wasn't supposed to understand. Looking back, I realized that was the moment everything started to change. But I had no idea then just how deep the secrets went, or how much I'd risk by digging deeper. As time went on, things between us got more serious. It wasn't just casual dates or stolen moments anymore. He started inviting me into his world, the kind of world most people only see on TV. Lavish dinners in places I'd only dreamed of, weekend getaways on private jets, gifts that felt almost unreal. At first, I thought it was all just a way to show me how much he cared. And honestly, part of me loved it. I felt like I was finally someone important. But with all the luxury came pressure. It wasn't just about love. It was about control. He was charming, sure, but I began to notice how tightly he held on to things, how carefully he managed what I saw and what I didn't. There were times when I'd ask about his work or his friends, and he'd shut down, change the subject, or give me vague answers. I started to wonder what he was hiding, but whenever I brought it up, he'd flash that disarming smile and say, "Trust me." There were nights when I'd hear hushed phone calls in the other room, voices I couldn't make out, but that didn't sound friendly. And the way he guarded his phone, like it was the most valuable thing in the world, made me suspicious. Still, I wanted to believe in us. I kept telling myself that love was complicated, that everyone had secrets, and that maybe his were just part of who he was. I felt torn. On one hand, he made me feel alive, like I was more than the girl I used to be. But on the other, there was a nagging feeling I couldn't shake, a sense that beneath all the glitz, something darker was lurking. The more I tried to push those thoughts away, the louder they became. I realized then that loving him wasn't going to be simple. It was a dance between trust and doubt, between hope and fear. and I didn't know yet how far I'd have to go to uncover the truth hiding beneath all that wealth and power. The moment I stumbled onto his secret is something I still can't fully explain. It wasn't planned or dramatic like in the movies. It happened by accident, like a puzzle piece falling into place when I least expected it. One evening, I was at his place, just an ordinary night, and I noticed something strange. His laptop was left open on the kitchen counter. I wasn't supposed to be there, but curiosity got the better of me. I saw an email preview, and the subject line made my heart skip a beat. Something about offshore accounts and hidden transactions. Words I barely understood but knew weren't good. I closed the laptop right away, but that little glimpse was enough to plant a seed of doubt. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing, wondering what else he was hiding. The next few days, I started paying closer attention, watching his phone calls, his meetings, even the kind of people he was suddenly meeting in secret. Nothing matched the charming, successful man I thought I knew. Then the truth hit me hard. I found a folder on his computer, locked, encrypted, but after some searching, I managed to access it. Inside were documents and videos proving he was involved in something far more dangerous than I imagined. Illegal deals, bribery, manipulating people behind closed doors. It wasn't just business as usual. It was a web of lies and corruption that could ruin lives, including mine if I stayed silent. I felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. The man I loved, the one who made me feel special and alive, was living a double life. My head screamed to run away, but my heart told me to stay and fight, because if I didn't speak up, who would? I realized then this wasn't just about me or us. It was about truth, justice, and standing for what's right, even if it meant risking everything. But fear was real. What if he found out I knew? What if my life was in danger? I kept the secret close, hiding my worry behind a smile. At the same time, I started gathering proof, snapping photos, recording conversations, anything I could use if I needed to. I confided in a trusted friend, someone who didn't know him but believed in me, and together we began to plan. Every day felt like walking on a tightrope. I wanted to protect myself and the people I cared about, but I couldn't stop thinking about the fallout. Exposing a billionaire wasn't just a story. It was a storm waiting to explode. And yet, the truth felt heavier than the fear. I knew I had to be brave, even if it meant losing everything I thought I had. Making the choice to expose him wasn't something I ever thought I'd have to do. I loved him, or at least I thought I did. But the deeper I dug, the clearer it became that love alone couldn't protect me, or the truth. Every moment I spent with him after discovering his secrets felt like walking through a maze with no way out. I was trapped between loyalty and justice, scared, but knowing I couldn't stay silent. I remember sitting in my small apartment one night, staring at the evidence spread out in front of me. Photos, documents, recordings, it all told a story he wanted to keep hidden. My hands shook as I realized the power this information held. It wasn't just about exposing his illegal deals. It was about shining a light on a man who used his money and influence to silence others, to protect himself at any cost. And now, that cost could be my safety. Fear crept in fast. What if he found out I was the one behind the leaks? What if he came after me? I thought about my family, my friends, and the life I had worked so hard to build. Could I risk losing everything? But the longer I waited, the more I felt like I was betraying myself. I couldn't live with the weight of his lies on my shoulders. So I reached out for help. I didn't know where to turn at first. I confided in someone I trusted, a lawyer who specialized in cases like this. Together, we started carefully planning how to share the truth without putting me in immediate danger. It was a slow, terrifying process, but with every step, I felt a little stronger. Still, the emotional toll was overwhelming. I'd never been so isolated, so scared, and yet so determined. He was still in my life, sending messages filled with promises, begging me not to do this. At one point, he offered me millions, millions, to keep quiet, gifts, luxury trips, even whispers of forever. But none of that could buy my silence. I realized that loving him meant nothing if it was built on lies. Every day felt like a battle, between fear and courage, between the past we had and the truth I was about to reveal. I wasn't just exposing a billionaire. I was standing up for myself, for the people hurt by his actions, and for anyone who's ever felt powerless in the face of money and influence. That decision changed everything. It wasn't easy, it still isn't, but I know that when the truth comes out, it has the power to set us all free, even if the price is high. After I made the decision to expose him, things changed fast, more than I ever imagined. I thought once I had the truth out there, I could finally breathe again. But I was wrong. What followed was like stepping into a storm that wouldn't let up. The billionaire I once cared for didn't take it quietly. Instead, he fought back with everything he had: money, power, and manipulation. At first, the offers came quietly. Luxurious gifts showed up at my door: designer bags, expensive jewelry, even a sleek car. Along with them were messages, soft and sweet, filled with promises he'd do anything to make things right. "Forget all this," he said. "We can go back to how things were. I love you." It sounded convincing, almost desperate, like a man afraid of losing control. But I wasn't fooled. I knew the money was a way to buy my silence, to keep me trapped in his world of lies. So I said no. I told him money couldn't fix the damage, couldn't erase the truth. That's when the tone changed. The calls became aggressive, the messages harsher. I started getting warnings, thinly veiled threats reminding me of what he could do if I crossed him. I felt my world shrink as fear crept in, but I also felt something else growing inside me, a fierce determination. I wasn't going to let intimidation stop me. This was bigger than me now. Friends who once admired the billionaire started turning away. Some refused to believe my story. Others quietly supported me, but were too scared to speak out. I lost people I thought I could count on. Even my own safety felt fragile. Strange cars appeared near my apartment, and I learned to be careful about what I shared and with whom. Despite the chaos, the media got wind of the story. Once the truth started coming out publicly, the billionaire's reputation took a hit. His empire, built on secrets and lies, began to crumble. Lawsuits, investigations, and endless headlines followed. People I never knew reached out, thanking me for having the courage to stand up to someone so powerful. But it wasn't just about the headlines. The real victory was inside me. I felt stronger, more alive than ever before. I had stepped out of the shadows of fear and silence. I had chosen to own my truth, no matter the cost. And in doing so, I realized something important. No amount of money or influence could ever buy my freedom. The journey wasn't easy. There were days I wanted to give up, to disappear from it all. But every time I thought about backing down, I remembered why I started this. Because the truth matters. Because we deserve justice. Because no one, no matter how rich or powerful, is above it. Now, looking back, I don't regret a single thing. Exposing him cost me a lot, but it gave me so much more. It gave me my voice, my power, and a story worth telling. And most importantly, it showed me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand up, even when the whole world is against you. When the dust finally settled, I found myself standing alone, but stronger than ever. The fallout from exposing him was bigger than I imagined, and not just for him. It touched every part of my life. The billionaire's empire cracked open, and the world saw a man very different from the charming figure I once thought I knew. Lawsuits dragged on, investigations unfolded, and the media never stopped digging. But for me, it wasn't about watching him fall. It was about what I learned about myself in the process. At first, I wasn't prepared for the loneliness. Friends disappeared, not because they didn't care, but because they were scared to be connected to someone who took on a man that powerful. Some treated me like I was dangerous or reckless. It hurt deeply, but it also showed me who truly mattered. The people who stayed, those few who believed in me, became my real family. Their support was a lifeline through the hardest days. Threats didn't stop overnight either. Even now, I stay cautious. I learn to trust my instincts and protect my space fiercely. But with every challenge came growth. I discovered resilience I never knew I had. I found a voice that wasn't afraid to speak out, even when the world told me to be quiet. And maybe most importantly, I realized that my story was bigger than just me. Sharing my experience has opened doors I never expected. I've connected with others who've faced their own battles against injustice and silence. I've spoken at events, shared advice, and helped people find the courage to stand up too. That sense of community, that shared strength, has been a healing force. Looking back, it's wild to think about how much my life has changed, from the girl who quietly dreamed in a small town to someone who took on a billionaire and won. Not because I was rich or powerful, but because I chose to be brave. I'm proud of that woman. This journey also taught me a hard truth. Love can be complicated. Sometimes, loving someone means seeing their darkness and choosing to walk away. It means putting yourself first when everything inside you wants to hold on. It means knowing that your worth isn't tied to someone else's money or approval. I had to learn that the hard way. Now I'm focused on the future. I'm building a life rooted in truth, authenticity, and freedom. I'm chasing dreams that belong to me, not anyone else. And while the past will always be part of my story, it no longer defines me. If there's one thing I want you to take away from my story, it's this: never underestimate the power of your voice. No matter where you come from, no matter what you've been through, your truth matters. And sometimes, telling it is the bravest thing you'll ever do. Thank you for listening to my story. If you believe in standing up for what's right, please leave a comment and share this video. Let's remind the world that no one is above the truth. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of courage and hope. Together, we're stronger than any secret, any lie, and any billionaire's money. I want to take a moment to thank you for hearing me out. This story isn't just about me or the billionaire I exposed. It's about something bigger. It's about standing up when the odds are against you, speaking your truth when it feels easier to stay silent, and finding strength in yourself no matter how scary the fight gets. If you've ever felt powerless or unheard, know that your voice matters. You don't have to let fear keep you quiet. If my story inspired you, or if you've ever faced a situation where telling the truth felt impossible, please drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. Sharing these stories builds a community where we lift each other up, where courage grows stronger every day. And if you believe in the power of truth and justice, please share this video. Let's make sure the world knows that no amount of money or influence can silence the truth. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe. There are so many stories out there, real stories about real people who chose bravery over fear. This channel is a place for those stories, a space to remind us all that no matter what life throws at us, we can face it head-on and come out stronger. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. Remember, the truth always finds a way, and so can you.